Hey everybody, KCC's here with Lucid Books. I hope you're having a great day. I'm here with my friend Christy Duncan. She's one of our authors. I'm really excited for you to hear about her book, and just what she does. And so, Christy, why don't you just take a minute and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Oh, that's a big question. 35 years, what to say? Let's see.
You have 30 seconds. No, I'm kidding.
I
Take your
got 30
time.
seconds. Okay,
30
go,
seconds.
go, go,
Give me
go.
that.
I
Give me
don't have a
that.
favorite color. I don't
Yeah.
like long walks on the beach. No,
You know.
I mean, I guess with the book pertaining to that, the most popular thing on Facebook that people keep clicking on is that I was a pastor's wife, for a long time. And then all of a sudden, I wanted to leave my faith and everything that I knew to try and find happiness and joy because it just wasn't there.
Yeah.
So the book is kind of how I got from here to there.
Yeah.
So, ooh, you
Ooh.
have to read it.
Well, tell us about your title of your book and just give us a little overview of it.
Yeah, the title of the book is Keeping Tally, Illuminating the Lies That Imprison You. Uh, I feel like one of my friends said it the best when he was talking about the topic. He said, it's like you've gone across enemy lines, stolen the playbook, and then brought it back. So it does revolve around spiritual warfare, but I tried really hard. I don't think that we should make warfare the focus of our lives. But to be ignorant that we have an enemy is almost as dangerous. So it brings some of his tactics, out into the light to help people realize where he may be tinkering in their lives. And then specifically go through eight lies that I was believing during this time. But I think will relate to everyone at some point. Everyone's kind of felt like a failure. But then how does that, believing that lie, how does that reflect Christ?
Yeah.
It usually doesn't reflect the truth. And so we're kind of letting our enemy gain some ground when we're believing those lies. So that's what I'm hoping to just develop, that deeper sense of sin is not just this little act and an oopsie, but it really affects who we are and how we're reflecting Christ. And if that's what we're called to be, it's an important thing to address. So.
But it seems like this is something that's like important to you. Obviously, people write books or think about writing books all the time, and so you actually took the time to sit down, write a book, publish a book, and promote it. Why is this topic so important? You gave us a little taste of it up front, but I want to hear a little bit more about that.
I don't think I had a choice as far as writing the book goes.
That's fair.
For one, to really work through those things, a lot of times people will write, and so that was part of it. I feel like I always say it's like God's sense of humor that I would write a book because I didn't aspire to do this, especially at that time, to write a book about God and all of His glory. I was mad, so I wanted to leave.
Yeah.
But I think one of the most important things for me, I deeply love authenticity, and so to pick up a lot of these books that seem, I wouldn't say generic, but just typical of the Christian spirituality. Sometimes it's hard when you can't find anything that really is that's really what life is like, and I identify with that person. And so from that aspect as well, to be able to give back for folks like me that just couldn't find that anywhere, I hope that the authenticity and the realness, and a lot of people call it raw, the stuff that I write about, and hopefully it's not too uncomfortable, but to tread that line of that we've been there, and let's keep going,
Well,
come on,
and
soldier.
I think that's part of. I mean, if you actually read the Bible, right? The Bible's raw. I mean,
Right?
if
I
you
know.
objectively just go read the Bible, even if you're not yet a person of faith, and you go and read about the stories, and you read about King David, who was a man after God's own heart, yet an adulterer and a murderer and a liar, and yet that's all in there. I mean, there's no spin in the scriptures, and
Right.
I think that's why why we're inclined to partner with folks like you, because I think the Christian faith is a lot more complicated and messy and raw, and I get the idea of wanting to write and publish books that are just polished and put together. But from my experience, both as
Right.
a Christian and before I was a Christian, and having been a pastor for many years, it's not so neat,
Right.
and it's complex. So what feedback have you received from your book so far? I mean, it's been out for a little while, and what kind of feedback have you been receiving?
It's been interesting. So I've gotten lots of really, really good reviews. Loved it. Tear-stained pages, stuff like that. We've had a friend of ours rededicate her life to Christ. A Sunday school class that from a chapter I never would have guessed because I was so nervous writing that chapter, that they decided to rework how they're going to go out and serve the community because they were convicted by the words that were there. So it's been really good. And then there's been, honestly, a lot of silence that I didn't expect from closer friends. And so, I feel like this is something that has to sit with you for a while because we want to kind of, it's easy to do the Sunday morning thing and then just do our week. And so these are deep heart issues that really take a while to work through. And I can't speak for those people. Maybe they just didn't like it. But I think that to wrestle with this stuff takes time. And so, so I'm wondering if more eventually I start hearing this feedback of, now I get it. But anyway, what we've heard so far is really, really good and worth all the effort. So
let me ask you this, just to push a little bit further. Since we're being raw, your book's raw, you're an honest, laid-back lady, you've been behind enemy lines.
right.
What hurdles did you personally face and how did you overcome them? I mean, are you willing to talk a little bit about, and you can be general, you don't have to go like into, because I want people to read your book, but as you think through some of the specific hurdles along the way, I mean, you said you were a pastor's wife and a lot of different things going on. Right. So, I mean, obviously the glory of God and the gospel of Jesus, helped you through, but what does that look like? Can you give some context for that?
Working with my awesome editor, she said early on, Chris, you have to go deeper. You have to completely expose it all and get to the heart or else the readers won't be interested. And I feel like I'm typically like that. The hardest chapter for me was a chapter regarding the church. So the lie is you don't need the church because eventually we get so hurt and wounded that we want to just walk away.
Right.
And then, say we have this relationship with the Lord. But that was the hardest chapter because how do you address issues to the church without tearing it down and making it look like this awful thing? Well, it is full of broken people, but that delicate balance of honoring the Lord with the words, but then saying truly how I felt as a human who had been hurt and wounded. That was my hardest chapter. And then all of them just working through those lies, I think I didn't realize how deep they penetrated. And so there was a lot of conversations with my husband and working through that stuff, and then a lot more writing. And then too, the last thing that was, I desperately did not want anything I said to contradict the truth of Scripture. Yeah. And so I ran it through two different pastors, two different congregations and whatnot to make sure that we're lining up and everything's good to go. But those are probably the main hurdles, I'd say.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're a vulnerable person. What are you not very good at? I mean, you're a good writer. It seems like you're good at struggling. You're good at being authentic. What are you not very good at?
I'm a good struggler. That's funny.
Hey. I mean, part of the scripture, right, is structuring, is suffering well.
That's true. To struggle well.
To suffer well.
Yeah, that's true. I've just learned that, so I'm still working on it.
I'm a better coach and player myself. Yeah.
Yep. All right. So in Kentucky, they call it cornhole. And that's really all I want to say because I'm really competitive and I'm not good at it.
You talk about the beanbag and the thing.
Oh yeah. Give me a round sphere and I will sink it. There you go. Not good at cornhole.
So if you want to win any money, play Miss Duncan at cornhole. So
there you go.
So who would you tell primarily to take time to read your book, and why should they do it?
Okay, that's a big question of mine right now because I'm trying to find these people. A lot of the lies do tend to resonate more with women because I'm a stay-at-home mom. It's some of the stuff that I was struggling through. Although I've had a man read it and say, well, many men, but this specific guy say that the lies are totally different for me, but now I'm aware of the enemy. So, but women seem to relate the most. And honestly, I'm not a psychologist. But
should we put that disclaimer on the video for you?
flashing lights all over.
Not a
Don't
psychologist.
quit your meds. But folks who just, they're aware of the enemy and they hear these lies so much that how can you not be somewhat depressed if you constantly hear that you're worthless or that you're poor and you're going to fail at whatever you do. So I don't know, chicken egg type scenario, but those folks really relate, right? Or just those who value authenticity, because I try to be that, from the beginning. So I feel like those are the ones that are really gaining ground in their spirituality from reading this. But
that's awesome. Well, offline, off the video, I'll talk to you some more about some marketing ideas I have for you, because I think a lot of people should read your book. So I think it's an important. I think it's an important read, but we won't bore our viewers with all those details right now. But so if someone wanted to invite you to come speak, you obviously have something to say. You obviously have presentation skills. If they wanted to bring you in to serve or speak, what would you be great at talking about, and who should they bring you in to talk to?
I definitely think that, I'm no expert theologian, but I have been given either some insight, or I've just taken the time to look at how the enemy really can wiggle his way into our lives without us even knowing. And so raising awareness to that, I feel like would be very important. I'd love to speak on that. And then, there's 8 different lies that are kind of totally different, whether there's marriage struggles or, the value struggles in your own life, whatever. But so I feel like folks can really cherry pick on what they might feel like addresses their group the most, and can expand on each one of those topics, maybe.
Awesome. Well, tell me about this. If you could have any superpower, and you can't ask for a superpower that multiplies all superpowers, that's cheating. But what superpower would you have?
True. Okay. I assume you have this problem in Texas. I would call it the mosquito snap, because I'm tired of going outside and losing a pint of blood every time it happens, right?
Seriously.
So not the entire population. I'd keep the food chain in check.
Yeah, just around.
But just, 5-mile radius. Yeah. Boom. They're all gone.
I love it.
Live life again.
Well, you could probably go on Shark Tank with that thing. So tell me this. So off and on throughout the book, you discuss music and its impacts on you. So why has music played such an important role in your life?
Right. Oh. Okay, well, first of all, I dated this guy in college. I get in the car, and there's country music on, and instantly I know this just isn't going to work.
It's not going to work out, man.
It's not going to work out for me. I'm sorry. Oh, man. No, back to that vulnerability and authenticity, I don't know if I'm the only one, but and we're in the Bible Belt. I mean, I've been out west some. I don't know if it's as prevalent out there, but it's difficult to find that authenticity. And I feel like certain bands can really get there, especially when you hear that beat drop, then you just know how they're feeling,
Yeah.
But so music is huge. And the only place that I felt like I finally found, specifically to this book, someone that I can relate to and you're not alone, was through music. That's why it comes up a lot in there. But I feel like it can be really beneficial for folks. And I don't know, it is for me. It's a huge part of my life. So I just value them going there, putting it all on the line.
Yeah, absolutely. So last thing, your book cover is quite different from normal book covers. So what was your idea behind it?
Yeah, I'll show the viewers.
Show it to it.
There it is.
Keeping tally right there.
It is.
It's a good looking cover.
That's me. I did it.
So you're a book cover model as well. You didn't mention that.
Because, oh man, I gotta get my resume up.
Get your resume, update it.
It's along the same lines. Prisons, they use isolation as a form of punishment, right? It is painful. And so to be a struggling Christian and walk into a bookstore and everything is flowers and happy and the same phrases on all the books, I needed flowers in my darkness during that time, but I was just angry. So I wanted to run from those type of things. Anything that looked like cultural Christianity, I was out. So I hope that this cover can meet people where they are, that I wouldn't have been afraid of it during that time. I would have been drawn to it. And kind of the I'll mourn with you type of message. I hope that conveys that. And then I hope that it doesn't scare everybody else off too much. It's a little dark. Stay in that line, but
hey, it's okay. I mean, yeah. So, well, Christy, where can people find you? How can they connect with you online?
I'm on Facebook and on Twitter. I've got a blog on WordPress, Keeping Focused, and then I'm Instagram, all that good stuff. You can find me there.
Awesome. And where can they get your book?
Tag that in the bottom. Is that what you do?
Oh yeah.
Get my book on Amazon and Barnes and Noble and other places.
It's all around.
Look it up. It's there.
Look around. Keeping Tally by Christy Duncan. Christy, thanks so much for joining us today and sharing a little bit of your life with us. And friends, if you're watching this, I encourage you to go grab her book, Keeping Tally, and bring Christy out to speak. So until next time, Lucid Books, I guess we're saying signing off.